Hi, Kristin. Let's take a look at what you wrote this time. The advantages and disadvantages of travel. Let's see what you said. Since the advent of industrialization, the technology and invention of newer since the advent of industrialization, the technology and invention of newer modes of transport, such as trains, cars, and planes, have led to travel becoming faster and easier. There are several advantages to this trend. However, the increased amount of traveling also poses some serious issues. This, as it will look at both the positive and negative sides of traveling using examples from both the Norwegian government and the WHO. Okay, that's fine. You might have noticed that I paused in the beginning. I thought this was a little awkward, the technology and invention. Why don't you just pick one? So the technology of newer modes of transport or the invention of newer modes of transport, one of them, but together the two words just sounded a little awkward to me. Okay. Okay. Other than that, fine, 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 fine. You're good. Your thesis sentence here was good. No problems. All right, let's move on. On the one hand, there is ample evidence to suggest that there are several benefits gained from an increased amount of travel activity. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, it may broaden your horizons. I want a comma here. Getting to know local customs, cultures, and languages. For example, a recent study done by the Norwegian government found that students who spent holidays abroad did better in their English and foreign language exams than students who spent their holidays at home. Secondly, increased traveling both domestically and internationally might boost tourism and promote trade in large communities as well as smaller ones, which could greatly enhance the local economy. For example, small villages around the fjords in Norway have increased their number of jobs and revenue due to the added tourism from cruise ships. Great. What a good paragraph. I was a little worried here that you were just going to talk about international travel, but then this whole example about like the villages in Norway, that was exactly what you needed. So you covered both international and domestic travel and the benefits that can be gained. So I thought it was a very, very good paragraph. Okay. All right, let's move on. On the other hand, although there is a case for traveling enhancing cultural knowledge and boosting trade, the negative impact of this activity cannot be overstated. This is largely because many modes of transport used for traveling pollute. Look, it's many modes pollute. That's your subject, the modes. Here you're just explaining which modes. So pollute the environment. For example, planes and motor vehicles are known to be major contributors to the current issues of pollution. A study done by the WHO found that CO2 emitted from planes and vehicles pose the biggest risks to the environment at the moment. Therefore, by people increasing their traveling activity, CO2 emissions will follow. Another consequence of added travel activity is the possibility of epidemics spreading at a more rapid rate. This was manifested clearly a few years ago with the COVID virus quickly infecting people globally due to air travel. All right, excellent as well. Good. To conclude, the increased amount of travel activity has clear benefits such as deeper understanding and knowledge of different languages and cultures and a good opportunity for boosting tourism and trade. However, the drawbacks of increased travel activity have caused pollution to soar due to CO2 emissions and diseases such as COVID to become an epidemic at a quicker rate. All right, I was really, really pleased with this. I thought you did such a good job. You saw I had very little to say. I think there was like one little mistake here in terms of grammar. Other than that, I thought it was excellent. I think it was very much on topic. I think you answered the questions. I think you developed really well. So it's great. Okay. All right, let's move on. Okay, here we have the bar chart with movie preferences. Let's see what you did here. The bar chart compares the preferences male and female adolescents have with regards to different movie genres globally. The various categories are, and you named them. Now, hold on, where am I? Nope. There we go. Now it says young adults. So what is a young adult? Well, first of all, what's an adult? An adult is somebody over 18. Okay. So um, you decided to take this as adolescents, but adolescents are not adults. They're actually children. Typically like at the beginning of their teen years or preteens. Uh, so to call them adolescents is probably not accurate. Yeah, so you could just call them young people, young adults, young men and women, and that would all be fine. But adolescence, again, is probably not accurate, okay? So let's see. Overall, comedy was the most popular musical genre, favored almost equally between the sexes. The least favorite genre was romantic for men and animation for women. Good, fine. As mentioned before, the most favored mutual category for both men and women was comedy, with 145 and 137 of the votes, respectively. The greatest division in taste between the sexes was seen in the action and romance categories. Action. Okay. Females second. Careful with this. You have it like one female. Do you know what I mean? So you could have just said women. That would have been good too. So women's, yeah, it should have been S apostrophe. So female, and it should have been the females' second highest rated genre was romantic with 116 votes, almost 4 times the number of male votes, which stood at 31. There was also quite a gap in taste in the action category, with men voting 137 and females only 82. All right, so now why did you decide to talk about action? Let me see. So it sounds to me like you did the first most popular, and that's fine, and then the second most popular and the second most popular for men. Fine. Okay. Animation and horror had a fairly similar distribution between the sexes, around 60 to 70. Both favored slightly more, not higher, by males compared to females. Drama, the last of the remaining categories, was favored more by females at 86 compared to men at 63. Okay, so let me see if I got this right. You've talked about, hold on. You talked about, where is it? Comedy, good. All right, and then you talked about romantic movies. You talked about action movies. Here you talked about animation and horror, good. And then the last thing you talked about was drama. So that's all the categories, correct? Yes, it is. Okay, fine. Yeah, no, I think that's a good job. I think it was a good way of doing it. You decide to talk about the top two for both the men and the women, and then you took the other things as well. So no, I think that's fine. I think the way you did it was a good way. Um, did you mention that? Well, you did mention it was favored slightly more than women. No, I thought you did a nice job of it. I was trying to follow to make sure you covered all the categories. You did. You highlighted things that were important. This is the only one where women favored more than men. So no, I think you did a good job. Um, just little things, really, just really very small things. I'm really actually really happy. The break you took, I think, has really helped, and your writing is at a very good level. So keep at it. You're doing great. I hope that your, confidence is up and you're feeling good about your writing because you're doing really well. Okay, so let's see your next set. My problems with the computer have not subsided. That's why it took so long to get this back to you. Um, like I said, thank goodness the message came through my iPad so that I could see that you wrote. And yeah, let's get your next set out and so we can correct it. Okay, good luck.